Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be doing quite a different video than we normally do, as recently a lot of our content has been based around Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series. Today's video is actually quite interesting, as we're going to be ranking all 6 Middle-earth movies. So, when ranking these movies, we're just going to be looking at, not awards and stuff, how the movie and the movie altogether relates to Tolkien and shows and expresses Tolkien's work. And from this, you could probably tell that the Hobbit movies will be the bottom 3. I'm not going to say which order, but it's most likely, and the Lord of the Rings top 3. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let's get into the number 6 spot. And I just want to quickly say that I won't be covering every single detail and every single difference and how it is compared to Tolkien's lore, as that will take hours. So just the main difference that affected the plot is a lot, and major differences between how Tolkien envisioned it and how it was actually done. So at number 6 we have the Battle of the Five Armies. Most of you guys will probably be thinking this would be number 6, and it is for multiple reasons. So firstly, for Peter Jackson himself, he found this movie really hard to film and actually got delayed by a year for production, actually making the war scene, as they were basically getting a few pages of the war that happened in The Hobbit and actually expressing it to a whole feature-length movie. And this movie should never actually been made, as I think they should have stuck to the source material. And out of all the 6 movies, this is a movie which is most not taking Tolkien's source material and looking at his actual works and making up their own ideas, which is where they really failed. And also carrying on Tariel's storyline, their love triangle with Legolas and Philly was really unneeded as well. And just some of the ideas they used, like seeing Legolas ride a gun with a bat and killing half an army, like what's going on. Also, the most redeeming moment in the book, which is Beorn coming down and basically winning the war, was shown like 5-6 seconds of screen time, not a lot. That was meant to be like the eagles coming in Lord of the Rings. And talking about eagles as well, it was a bit cringy when Bilbo said the eagles are coming as well. It was just out of place. But despite all this, there were still some good scenes, like Azog versus Thorin, even though that never did actually happen in the book like that. And also, what I want to say as well about The Hobbit before we get next one, so I say, for us, overall, people who love Tolkien's work, we will find these movies like not awful, but like not as good as Lord of the Rings, against Tolkien's work. But for people who have never read The Lord of the Rings and know nothing about it, they would actually really like these movies. And because I think these movies are better than some that are in Hollywood right now. But for avid Tolkien fans like us, we would not agree with that. So yeah, it just up to people's interpretations. So yeah, the Battle of the Five Armies at 6. Now let's get into number 5. So in the 5th spot, we have the Desolation of Smaug. So overall, even though the movie did have its downs, it was still a pretty decent, good movie. For example, the scene between Smaug and Bilbo is actually really good and really lore friendly as well. And I think if Tolkien would look back at that, he would actually not be that angry with how it was portrayed, actually like pretty happy. But despite that, because they wanted to make 3 movies, some bits in this movie were really not needed and were just made to be able to have 3 movies. So for example, Tariel's love story with Philly was just really unneeded. And also, even though Legolas could have been at Mirkwood when the dwarves came, if you had him for like a cameo, like 5-10 minutes, but not have him as a storyline within The Hobbit, was a bit fun. Again, try to just expand the movie so it can be a proper feature-length movie. And also some things they could have dwelled on a bit more was, for example, Beorn as well. I think that was a bit rushed as well. But the barrel scene was pretty good. And the one thing I like at the end is the Dale scenes. Those are pretty good as well. So overall, was better than the 6th movie, but could have still been improved on a lot. And some of it wasn't the movie's fault. It was actually the producer's fault wanting 3 movies. So now let's get into our number 4 spot. The 4th spot, of course, we have an unexpected journey, the first part of the Hobbit trilogy, and you could tell that the best out of the trilogy was the first movie, then the second and the third. And that was majorly due to not sticking to the source material. And even though in The Hobbit they did go a bit far from the source material, it was pretty good coming towards staying with what Tolkien wanted. But maybe some people did like the inclusion of Azog. I didn't mind it, to be honest, but having Bolg as a major character would have been fine as well. And out of all three of the movies, it felt most like Lord of the Rings. It felt most like we're in Middle-earth. Like, the scenes in Rivendell were amazing, and it was quite interesting that they added the council scenes in here as well. And obviously, this did happen in Middle-earth, it didn't happen at the time, so technically it wasn't really connected to the lore when they found out that Sauron was back, and that stemmed from here. But some of the scenes were amazing. Like, for example, the Gollum and Bilbo scene was probably, out of the whole series, probably my favourite scene out of the Hobbit series. So it was really good. It did stick to the lore. Same with the troll scene as well. The trolls were a bit kid and cartoonish, but that is most likely when it is mostly a children's story. But overall, it was a decent movie. It did not live up to the hype and expectations of the Lord of the Rings, so that is why it's in the fourth spot. But compared to its sequels, it isn't as bad. And the first part was pretty good, staying in Hobbiton for a bit longer as well. So let's get into our number 3 and the Lord of the Rings trilogies. In the third spot, we have my favourite movie, which is The Two Towers. And it really is an excellent movie, and of course it has the best battle sequence in movie history, which was Helms Deep. And even though I said it's my favourite movie, we're basing this off how it relates to Tolkien's lore. And there were some things that were maybe more prominent than the other movies. Some things, like, for example, in The Fellowship, the stuff was left out, and there's only one major thing that I'll talk about. But here, quite a few stuff was added in. But it's still, for movie sense, it still made the movie really, really good. So, for example, having Haldir and the elves of Lothlorien coming and helping out the Helms Deep, and it was just, and obviously the battle was great as well. And I think one of the best things out of the whole trilogy was the three hunters, them trying to save Merry and Pippin and find out where they were. Those scenes in the movie and those moments were incredible as well. Just the shots, the landscapes, them running, it was just amazing. And also, one thing I also want to talk about is the Warg attack. Even though it did not happen in that sense in the books, and Aragorn falling off the cliff, even that isn't technically Tolkien lore friendly, it was still, for a movie sense, really, really good, as it added a bit more suspense as well. And also the love story between Aragorn and Elrond's daughter as well was alright. It was like, because originally she was meant to be at the battle, and when people found out, there was major backlash, so they wanted to have that connection somewhat, and I think they did do the right job and did do it the right way. They could have gone extreme in the other direction and actually just had her at the battle. So it's pretty good. The movie's excellent. I said it's my favourite. Just the whole, and just like Gandalf coming is just amazing. So overall it is Tolkien lore friendly, but some things were added in, which is why it's in the third spot. So now let's get on to our number 2. In the number 2 spot, some of you may be surprised, but it's actually The Return of the King. This movie speaks for itself. It won 13 Oscars. I'm not 100% sure on the number, but it won so many awards. It was the perfect ending, the culmination of all the movies before it. It was a perfect ending to the story. But as I said before, we're focusing on Tolkien's lore, and there's just one little thing that still is quite annoying today. I think some of you may already know what it is. It's basically the dead when they came back, and in the books, you know that they didn't really answer Aragorn's aid, and actually it was most of them was South Gondor's knights, and also the children of Elrond. And I wish we could have seen this a bit more. And maybe when the Umber scene when they were coming down the river was pretty good. It was an extended edition, but it wasn't really Tolkien lore friendly. But overall the movie just incredible. The Pelennor Fields fight was excellent as well. And just if the South Gondor had come, the knights come with Aragorn on the ships instead, it would have been 100% number one. But just little things like that. And also, even at the Black Gate, there's some things like how the formation was. This annoyed me a little bit as well. For example, that effectively was Gandalf or Legolas were actually on the rocks on the side, and they did it so there was a bit more of like formation. But the speech was excellent. The Battle of the Black Gate was just amazing. And the final scenes of Gollum was extraordinary. You can see why these movies, in my opinion, are the best movies ever made. So yeah, as I said before, you cannot rank these movies, these top three. They're just incredible. But now into the number one spot, which is obviously The Fellowship of the Ring. So some of you may be surprised why The Fellowship of the Ring is at the number one spot, because it did cut out a fair few things from the book. For example, the first few minutes, first half of the movie, not first half, first third of the movie, went quite quickly. But in the books, Frodo aged quite a lot, and it was like over 50 years later. And also other stuff such as Tom Bombadil not being included. I know it's meant to be a little Easter egg, but they didn't have enough time to put him in. It's just little stuff like that at the start of the movie, and just maybe more our Hobbiton was not shown as it could have. And even the fifth Hobbit as well. I'm sorry, I don't entirely remember his name off the top of my head. When he actually helped Frodo moving as well, and that wasn't shown either. But I think these are all necessarily cut out to make the film better. And Tom Bombadil, I can understand why they cut him out, because it wasn't really impacting the plot that much. But it was done to make the people like understand the movie a lot better. Because if they did it entirely like Tolkien wanted it, then it would have been a really, really hard movie to properly grasp. But then the fact that it worked together really well, and they still kept Tolkien's idea and vision in the movie, in my opinion. Like so many of the stuff, for example, the mountain shots and everything were great. But one thing is the Glorfindel problem, and a lot of people will understand this, and that's the only thing I can really critique about it. But they had reasons to show Elrond's daughter in more of a put her more in the light, and to express the love story between her and Aragorn. But overall, Fellowship of the Ring is a really, really good movie, and the shots are beautiful. But that's it for today's video. Those are my rankings. Rank in the comment section where you would put all these 6 movies. But until then, goodbye.